What's going on, guys? So this week's episode, we're going to be going over the other pieces for attaching to those bungs for our forward controls. I just did kind of a test piece here. Drilled a 7/16 hole all the way through it. It's 3/4 long, and then I bored it out on the inside to be able to fit an Allen head bolt, and it fits right in there. It protrudes a little bit right now because I ended up having to put a washer on it to get it to be tight enough with the bung. So I'm going to try to remake one of these a little bit longer, and then I'll also leave more depth in here then. But I don't know exactly how much longer I want to go. I'm thinking I really need to get the square bar and like kind of see where I'd want it on one of these. And then we'll bore out just like that again so they can seat in there, something like that. But that's what we're going to work on in this video. I'll bolt this one on here real quick and let you guys see what it kind of will look like bolted up. Alright, so that's bolted up. Kind of tell the difference in the color, but it does blend in really well with that. So once I get those two on there, I think that'll look really good. And I'm going to use some like polished stainless bolts at the end. This is just the only size bolt like this that I could find at the hardware store today, and I needed something for a template to make these. So once I figure out exactly how I want to do them, I may even end up having to get longer bolts if I make these bigger. Like I said, I don't know how much bigger I want to make them. I'm just gonna kind of have to see what I decide. I don't want to go, a whole lot bigger, but like I said, that's 3/4 inch. I may go about an inch total, but we'll see. I'll measure it out first and see exactly how much space I'm gonna have, and then we'll go from there. But stick around. We'll probably bring you over to lathe and let you see some more of that stuff, and then our final product. Won't show quite as much of the lathe stuff this video, because then we'll work on twisting that stuff and getting the whole thing together, and we'll see where we're at from there. Maybe get the pegs on there or something like that. Okay, so I made a new piece. You guys seen this one? It's 3/4 length. This is the one that I got on there now. It's 1 inch. And also, let me take this out of there. You can see it sits in there a lot better. Has a little bit of a lip on the actual piece, which I think is going to be good because it really actually sets in there like it should. I like the inch. I'm going to stick with that. I've got the other ones all not made completely yet over there, but I've got the raw pieces of inch. And then I started drilling out the other one. You can see the difference between the one that's finished and then this one. So what I do is take it all the way through at 7/16, and then take my biggest drill bit, which is 1/2 inch, straight through to the size of the head. And then after that, I'll take a boring bit in the lathe and slowly bore that out until it gets to where I can plop this down in there. And actually, I forgot I had that. So the washer was on the back of this one that time, so the lip isn't quite accurate. I don't know whether I'm going to run the washer yet or not, because I want to make sure I got a good amount of threads in there, but put the washer because I do think the lip is a little bit far. With the washer, it's about like right there. So, I mean, it is a decent difference. So, I may run the washer. And I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but I actually had to make the washer too. I had to put it in the lathe and put a 7/16 drill bit through it because it needed to be able to fit in here, and to have a 7/16 washer, you know, they're normally bigger, so it's really almost just a spacer at this point. But yeah, I like the way that sits much better, so we may do that. You can see I ended up actually messing the threads up on this bolt, and like I said, this is the only one I have right now to mock all these up with, so I had to kind of do what I could to fix it so I can still make sure it's going to look good on here and tighten down correctly. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. I think I'm going to stop for tonight, and then I'll get back to this tomorrow, getting the rest of these done. They take a little bit of time, especially because I got to step up drill bit sizes over and over and over, and then even the boring out part takes a little bit. But we'll be back for you guys here in just a second, but for me it'll be tomorrow. Okay, so we got some stuff done now. We got all the pieces for what's actually going to be part of the forward controls done, and then I just got this first piece done, which you guys just saw, for actually mounting the pegs. So I kind of take it off there and show it a little better, make it make sense. But yeah, so this is what obviously the peg mounts to. So I got my 3/4 stock, and I just, you know, drilled it out to the size of this bolt. Actually, so this is like a 10mm by 1.5 or whatever, because I ordered these cheap ass things off Amazon. And so I just bored it out to like a 25/64 or something like that in the center, or drilled it out to 25/64, and then I bored it out to be able to fit the head of it in there, just like those other ones, and screws right on. Got plenty of threads in there. And then let's go ahead and bring you guys down here. To show you these. So I did get the stainless bolts today, so makes them look make a little more sense, I guess, what it'll actually kind of look like at the end. Obviously these pieces I'm going to do, I'm going to do chrome, but yeah, essentially the same thing. 7/16 bolt. So I drilled it out to 7/16 and then bored it out to be able to fit the head of it in there. And these ones, the first one I did, I accidentally bored it just a little bit deeper than what I wanted. So I took a, I don't even know what size washer this was. I think it was a 1/4 inch washer. That way it's the same size as the head of this bolt. And I just put it in a lathe too, and just put a 7/16 hole through that. And now it sits just about right where I want it. And I did that on all of them. And like I said, now that we got that one done, we're gonna go up over and finish that last piece, and then I can, you know, do my twisted stock and figure out the lengths and weld them together, and those will be the base of the forward controls. I may have to do some, obviously, in between here eventually, so I'll get some longer bolts or something to be able to put a swivel of a, you know, for the brake and stuff like that. But for right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and get the base done and mount it up so I can kind of see what it looks like, where it's at, and then I'll move on to trying to do whatever I'm gonna do for the pedals. Kind of got an idea. If you guys follow Prism Supply, the way those pedals look, I may try to like make something similar to that and give it my best shot. Worst case with the pedals, I'll just, you know, buy something and just kind of make the mount down here for it, and then just use a basic pedal. It all depends on what I make, what it looks like when it comes out, if I like it or not. But we'll probably at least try to give it a shot. So anyways, I'm gonna go over and finish this next piece up real quick on the lathe, and then I'll probably bring you guys back somewhere around when we're twisting the metal for these pieces and go from there. Okay, so it's been a little over a week since I've got to work on the chopper. Been doing some other things around the house, so we're gonna get back to it tonight, get these 4 controls done. Gonna have to redo the top pieces, and I'll show you what I mean here in just a minute. But first things first is, it's been a little chaotic, so we need to clean the bench up and get some things out of the way and roll the chopper back over here so we can have some room to actually work on it. Once I get that done, I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. All right, so we got the garage picked back up. Lots of things out of the way. Clean back off the workbench. Got all the screws and junk picked up. Now, so I'm going to show you what I was talking about. Maybe I can get that good angle on it here. That's about as good as I'm gonna get right now. You should be able to tell what I'm talking about from that. But anyways, I'm gonna be remaking these pieces to be a little bit longer. So it's hard to tell from this, kinda, but there's a gap right there, right? So I want these to be flush, because if not, trying to weld this together isn't going to come out real well, because this is obviously the thin spot, and I don't want to accidentally weld through that or have to worry about that. Plus I want it to be on something solid anyways when I weld it. So these bottom ones turned out fine. I just got to take them off and clean them up when I'm done. But this one here, I'm just going to move out, and then I haven't decided exactly how I want to bend this yet. I thought about doing like an outward bend or something like that. So I would like probably weld onto here first or something, then heat it up and get it. Just not quite sure yet. I don't really want it to be straight, I don't think. But anyways, we'll figure that out. But we got to get these, like I said, brought out a little bit more. So I'm gonna go get a square, put it on here, and then figure out, measure the distance, how much deeper I'm gonna need them. Already got longer bolts for them, so they should work. And once we get that done, like I said, we'll go back to fixing these all up. Kind of try to show you this angle too. And this is that one peg we already did, but I'm not gonna use this one as the peg. This was the test one, but it's kind of the idea, what they're gonna look like. So we'll get them together and see how sturdy they feel, and hopefully they're good. But if not, we'll figure something else out. But I think even just from feeling this here, once I add that extra support, they're gonna be just fine. I mean, they're forward controls. I'm not gonna be really trying to stand up on them a lot anyways. I mean, just using to get a little bit of weight off big bumps and whatnot, but I'm not gonna be motocrossing with this thing, so should be all right. So go ahead and I'm gonna jump over the lathe. I may let you guys join me for a little bit of that, but I don't wanna have too much of that in this video. And then we'll come back to welding this up and swap over to the other side. We got some more metal to twist. I only twisted the 2 pieces for this side. And then once we do all that, hopefully we can get these 4 controls done tonight. Either way, they will be done for this video. It just seems like they've taken a long time because I've only got to work on them in stints. So I'm ready to have them done. I'm excited for them. I've been wanting to do them for a long time. So let's get to it. Okay, so this is where I'm at now. I got these longer pieces made. You can definitely tell right there how much longer they are. But now they're leveling the ends. And I wasn't sure how I wanted to bend it this way or that way. Had my wife come out here and asked her, and she liked it that way better. And honestly, I kind of did too. The only problem is if you look, right here, you know, it just doesn't fit well. So I'm just gonna kind of round it down or shape it down somehow, grind it there, and then see how it fits together. I still only kind of got it tacked, so if I do decide to change it, I can, but it's turning out pretty good. I kind of like the way it looks. Yeah, this piece is kind of cooling down now. I just welded right there and over there, and I also just had that bar heated up to bend it. So I just got the other piece bored out while I was waiting for it to cool, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut and try to bend the next pieces for the other side, and then that way I can go ahead and come back to this after that while those cool, shape that down, put it back on there, see what I think, and then go ahead and finish welding it up and clean it up after that. Or I might not even clean it up yet. I might try to make the pegs or something. We'll see where I'm at with it, but that's the plan for now. So I'll catch you guys up here in just a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and bend those pieces and then bring you back to watch me putting it back together. So I had a peg laying around that I just went ahead and threw it on there, and it sounded like put my foot down on it. Felt pretty good. Needs a little more tweaking obviously, and I still gotta completely finish welding it up and cleaning it up. But overall, that's pretty much how it's gonna look. And then right there, I'm gonna clean that up a little more, bring it down some. I was just using the bench grinder, but I'll get it cleaned up more. But yeah, that's how they're gonna look. It doesn't feel too bad. Pretty sturdy. Not completely perfect, but I mean, I gotta put a lot of pressure on it. I mean, a whole lot of pressure before I can kind of feel it move. So it's definitely gonna be sturdy enough. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I think I'll be even happier once I get them completely cleaned up. But for now, it's going good. Gonna get back to twisting some more bar for the other side. I was twisting them, and I would cut them and then twist them, and I would only have a little bit in the vise, and I was having a really hard time keeping it still. So I'm just gonna get a big full piece so I can run a lot more real estate into that vise and then twist off, you know, they're 4-inch pieces, so I'll twist a little over that, about 10 inches of the bar, and then I can cut it and use them from there. I think it'd be a lot easier. I don't know why I was trying to do it the way I was, but so I'm gonna get to that and then we'll get on over to the other side. Hopefully get that done. Alright, so we got this one pretty well cleaned up. So, I don't know if I mentioned it in a video before, but these railroad ties, as you can see, aren't real pretty finished, and they got to be pretty smooth when they get chromed, or at least decently smooth. These will never be perfect just because of what they are, but I'm going ahead and taking them down like this, because they get heated and they kind of look here like this one. You can tell that I've already done, you know, it looks a lot better than if I would have left it like that one. So this is what I did to the one I've already twisted. Just took the flap disc to it and took it down a little ways, got it down all smooth, because there's a lot of porous spots in this, and then we twist them. So I'll go ahead and set this one off to the side. Get this other one done. One of these other ones done. I might leave this one because I haven't got any sides on this one done, and I did already start a couple sides of that one. So let's get back to doing that. And then I've got the piece for the other 4 control. I twisted it and I'm letting it cool while I do this. So by the time I get this other one done, it should be about cool, and we can probably cut that and get those to size. Once we do that, we'll come back to these pegs, get these pegs made however I decide to do them. I might be able to just cut a little bit of an end off. I'm just going to go kind of the same length as that peg that I put on there because it feels pretty good, and then we'll drill a hole and try to mount those up. So stick around. Alright, I'm getting ready to twist these railroad ties, and I had a hell of a time with them staying last time. So what I did was took this 3/4 square stock, I cut a slit in it, and I welded the railroad tie at the end. I'm going to try to see if this will hold. I should have a pretty good weld in there. It had a pretty good gap, so I'm going to put it down in here further. But I need to cut it off about right here where I'm going to use it anyways, so I figured it's worth a shot and see if it holds, and I can get a lot better bend and control on this way than rather than how I was doing it before. So I'm gonna give it a shot. Okay, so here we are, done with this episode. We got our 4 controls done. I've got, well, pretty much done. I was working on the driver's side 4 control and got pretty much all together, but I ran out of wire for the welder. It's late tonight, so I can't go get any more. So I have to finish that up later. I'll probably just finish it off video because I'm going to show you guys what it looks like now. I got to do a little bit of fine tuning on the pegs themselves, just to get them where I want them. I kind of got them spaced up with like a washer right now, just so I can get an idea where they'll sit. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. I need to clean them up a little bit more, like the Dremel, and grind some stuff down, flush them up. But for the most part, I did a decent amount of work on this one over here. Either way, let me go ahead and show them to you real quick so you can get an idea of these. Alright, so you can see I got that little washer in there spacing it out, but yeah, it's all done. It's pretty sturdy. I mean, it flexed a very little bit when I'm like really pushing on it, but I think it's gonna be just fine. My washer fell out, but anyways, as you can see, I just gotta get them shimmed up a little bit because and I haven't done the little rounded offs to where they can pop up yet either, like a regular peg would. But I did that. I ended up shortening them a little bit, only because I had welded this piece here straight to the inside of this rod, right? And so when I did that, this one set over top and it just didn't quite look right. So now it's a little more centered, almost kind of like that one there. That one's kind of, I ran out of wire when I was adjusting that one, so I got to move that one down a little bit. So that's not a real good example of it, but that one's literally just all tacked up. So yeah, I shortened it just a little bit, like maybe 1/2 to 3/4 inch by the time I did that. But yeah, I got that one there, and like I said, this one, I had it shimmed up and stuff too, and I'll fine tune it later because it hangs down way too much. But yeah, here I'll show you how it's a little bit more centered in between the two, and I think it just looks cleaner and looks like it makes more sense that way. But yeah, it's came out pretty good. I'm happy with it. Maybe more stands over there. Like I said, I definitely got some more adjusting to do to get them to sit perfect the way I'd want. But yeah, it's cool. It's finally coming together. I'm glad to have that much done with them because, man, they were a lot of work and a lot of time, just because I do a lot of like things with heat, whether I'm bending the one or welding them or cutting them or twisting them, and every time I do something, I kind of got to like set it to the side and let it cool down. And then it takes a while for them to really cool down. So I had to really learn how to use the time wisely and kind of move on to the next stage. So anyways, that's where I'm gonna cut this video at. Next week we'll move on to something else. I think I may start with the handlebars. I kind of have an idea for that. I know I told you guys before they don't sit down there right because the riser stud pops up. Plus the riser is a little too low. So I think I may try to make a spacer to go below the riser, put it on the lathe, and turn it down to the same size well, actually I don't even know what the same size is yet. I might not even have to turn it down, but I'll have to see what size the bottom of that riser is now. And then we'll drill the hole for it. And I can only do a little bit, which I only need a little bit. I'm thinking maybe a 1/4 inch. And then put those on the bottom of that and bring it up. And that would solve all my handlebar problems right now, I think. I hope. So we may kick off the next video doing that. And then of course I gotta get going with the back fender and stuff again and get that all done. So we'll kind of just see where we end up. I've got plenty of stuff to do. I still need to figure out kind of what I want to do for the kickstand. I kind of tossed around the idea of using one of those railroad ties, but I'm just not quite sure yet. I would use, you know, obviously like the bottom of this as the stand, and I would just have to bend this out, and then I would want to twist it like I've done the other ones. So we'll see. I don't know. It's going to be really hard until I can get the bike off the lift to figure out exactly how long I need it too. And then where I would weld a deal to put a spring on it, stuff like that. So I'm not 100% sure if that's exactly what I may try to do that. If it feels sturdy and it works good, cool. If not, that's the one thing that I may just buy one of the weld-on ones from like TC Bros or something. I've said before, you know, I'm trying to do as much as I can, but I mean, the kickstand holds up all my work. So if I'm not completely satisfied and happy and confident in whatever I make for it, I'm not going to do it. I want to make sure it's going to be a good sturdy kickstand. So like I said, we'll give it a shot, and if I think it turns out good and it seems like it's nice and solid, I'll keep it. But if not, we may just go the weld-on route. I mean, they look pretty good too, and it'll I can kind of help adjust the way those sit too when I weld it on. So we'll see. But I mean, honestly, like I said too, I got to get this thing off the lift before I can kind of tell where I'm going to need it. So I need to finish that back fender and get that sissy bar and stuff done. I've got some ideas of how I want to do that. I'll go over next video. But yeah, that's what you can look forward to next week. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. I definitely did have a lot of fun making it. It was a lot of work though, like I said. It took a lot of time. It was really hard. I hope this video comes out good because recording it was difficult because it took several days and like trying to figure out where I was at each one. I know the very beginning of it, I filmed a lot of the process, so I didn't film quite as much towards the end because I didn't want to just put you guys in a fast forward music video the whole time. But I did try to show as much of my work as possible. So anyways, till next week, thanks for stopping by.